Welcome to our deep dive into the world of metamorphic rocks. We're going to be exploring how these incredible rocks form
Yeah.
and how we use them in our daily lives.
Right.
So
Get ready
get ready for some fascinating insights.
for some fascinating insights.
Okay, so before we get into the specifics,
Sure.
can you give us a quick overview of where metamorphic rocks fit
Yeah,
within the grand scheme of things? I'm picturing the rock cycle.
exactly. The rock cycle.
Right.
You got your igneous rocks
Mhm.
formed from cooling magma or lava,
Right.
your sedimentary rocks built up over time from accumulated sediments,
Okay.
and then you have the metamorphic rocks,
Yeah.
the shapeshifters of the geology world.
So any rock,
Yeah.
whether it's igneous or sedimentary,
Uh-huh.
can become a metamorphic rock given the right conditions.
Absolutely. This rock cycle has no real beginning or end.
Okay.
And it's constantly driven by powerful forces like heat from the Earth's interior pressure
Mm-hmm.
from overlying rock layers
Okay.
and the erosive power of wind and water.
Wow.
It's a continuous process of creation,
Yeah.
transformation, and renewal.
That's incredible. You know, when I think about a metamorphic rock,
Yeah,
the first thing that comes to mind is that iconic image of gneiss
right.
with its distinct black and white banding.
Yeah.
It's almost like an abstract painting created by nature.
Gneiss is a fantastic example of a metamorphic rock,
Mm-hmm.
and that striking banding is a key characteristic
Okay.
of many metamorphic rocks,
Yeah.
known as foliation.
So tell me, what exactly is happening deep down in the Earth's crust
Okay.
that causes this foliation? What's the secret behind those beautiful layers?
Well, imagine you have a rock-like shale,
Okay.
which starts its life as mud that settles on the ocean floor.
Okay.
Over millions of years, this mud gets buried under layers of other sediments,
Mm-hmm.
creating immense pressure.
Right.
Now, picture those tectonic plates we always hear about,
Yeah.
slowly colliding.
Mm-hmm.
The shale gets caught in the middle of this colossal squeeze, and the minerals within it
Okay.
start to align themselves
Right.
perpendicular to the direction of that pressure.
So it's like squeezing a tube of toothpaste,
That's a great analogy.
where the paste represents the minerals being forced into a specific direction.
And as those minerals realign, they
Okay.
create those striking bands of color and texture
Yeah.
that we see in foliated metamorphic rocks like gneiss, schist,
Wow.
and phyllite.
Okay.
Each layer tells a story
Wow.
about the incredible forces the rock has endured.
It's mind-blowing to think about how those powerful forces shape the very structure of the
Yeah.
rock, turning something as simple as mud into a work of art.
Right.
But not all metamorphic rocks have that layered look, right?
You're right. There's another category called
Okay.
non-foliated metamorphic rocks.
Okay.
These rocks still form under intense heat and pressure,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't have that directional force
Okay.
that creates those distinct layers.
So what kind of rocks fall into this non-foliated category?
One example that might surprise you is marble.
Marble.
You probably think of marble as this luxurious material used in sculptures and buildings,
Right.
but it actually starts its life as limestone,
Okay.
often formed from the skeletons of marine organisms.
Wait, so the Taj Mahal,
Yeah.
that stunning white marble mausoleum,
Huh?
is actually made from ancient sea creatures.
Exactly. The limestone that formed the Taj Mahal was subjected to intense heat and pressure, likely from contact with magma deep underground.
Okay.
This process recrystallized the limestone,
Mm-hmm.
transforming it into the beautiful, durable marble we see today.
That's incredible. It's amazing to think about how a rock can go through such a dramatic transformation. So
Mhm.
whether a metamorphic rock ends up foliated or non-foliated depends on the specific conditions it's exposed to, right?
Precisely. The intensity of heat and pressure,
Okay.
the presence of fluids,
Mhm.
and the original composition of the parent rock
Okay.
all play a role in determining the final form of a metamorphic rock.
It sounds like there's a lot of detective work involved in understanding how these rocks formed.
It is, yeah.
Do geologists have any special tools or techniques they use to unlock those secrets?
They do. One of those fascinating tools they use is the study of index minerals.
Index minerals.
These are special minerals that only form under very specific pressure and temperature conditions.
Okay.
Think of them like geological fingerprints,
Okay.
providing clues to the rock's history.
So if a geologist finds a particular index mineral in a rock,
Yeah.
they can determine the range of pressures and temperatures that the rock must have experienced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For example, garnet is a common index mineral
Okay.
that forms under relatively high pressures and temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
If you find garnet in a metamorphic rock,
Yeah.
it's been through a pretty intense journey.
Wow. It's amazing how these tiny mineral grains can hold clues to events that happened millions of years ago deep inside the earth. It's like having a time machine in your hand.
Now, to understand these transformations a little better,
Okay.
let's talk about the different types of metamorphism.
Okay, I'm ready to dive deeper. What are the main ways these rocks get cooked up deep inside the earth?
Well, there are three main types of metamorphism:
Oh.
contact hydrothermal
Mm-hmm.
and regional.
Okay.
Let's start with contact metamorphism.
Okay.
This is the most common type.
Okay. Contact metamorphism.
Yeah.
What does that involve?
Imagine you're baking a cake
Okay.
and you put the batter in the oven.
Okay.
The heat from the oven transforms that batter into a delicious treat.
Okay.
Contact metamorphism is similar. Molten magma, like the heat from the oven,
Mm-hmm.
comes into contact with pre-existing rocks and bakes them,
Wow.
causing localized transformations.
So wherever magma is pushing its way up through the Earth's crust,
Yeah.
we can expect to find metamorphic rocks forming nearby.
Exactly. It's happening all the time,
Wow.
deep beneath the surface.
Okay.
Now, a different kind of heat plays a role in hydrothermal metamorphism.
Hydrothermal metamorphism.
Picture superheated, mineral-rich water circulating through cracks and fissures in the rocks.
So it's not just the heat, but also the chemical reactions with the hot water that cause the transformation.
Precisely. This process is especially important for forming valuable ore deposits.
So the copper pipes in our homes might owe their existence to hydrothermal metamorphism.
That's right.
That's pretty cool. But what about regional metamorphism? That sounds a lot more dramatic.
It is. Picture those colossal tectonic plates colliding,
Yeah.
generating immense pressure and heat
Right.
over vast areas.
Okay.
Entire mountain ranges can be transformed during these collisions.
Wow.
It's the ultimate geological makeover.
That's mind-boggling. So we've got these different types of metamorphism happening, each with varying degrees of intensity. It's like levels in a video game.
Yeah.
What determines which level a metamorphic rock ends up in?
We classify those levels using the concept of metamorphic grade,
Metamorphic grade.
which describes the intensity of heat and pressure.
Okay.
The rock was subjected to
Okay.
low-grade metamorphism.
Mm-hmm.
Involves relatively mild conditions,
Mm-hmm.
resulting in subtle changes to the original rock.
So as we crank up the heat and pressure,
Yes.
moving to intermediate and high-grade metamorphism,
Yeah,
we get more dramatic transformations.
absolutely. Higher temperatures and pressures lead to more significant changes,
Okay.
pushing the rock closer and closer to its melting point
Wow.
without actually crossing that line.
It's amazing to think about these rocks being on a journey,
It is, yeah.
starting from simple sediments and undergoing these incredible transformations over millions of years.
Right.
So how do geologists actually go about identifying these metamorphic rocks out in the field?
Right.
What should we be looking for?
Well, the first clue is often the texture of the rock.
Okay.
We've already talked about foliation.
Right.
But even non-foliated rocks can have distinctive textures that hint at their metamorphic origins.
So besides those telltale layers,
Yeah.
what are some other texture clues we should be looking for?
Well, think about the grain size.
Okay.
Have the mineral grains been recrystallized into larger crystals?
Okay.
Does the rock have a sheen or a particular feel?
Right.
These are all clues that can help you distinguish a metamorphic rock from its igneous or sedimentary cousins.
Right, like the silky sheen of phyllite or
Yeah.
the sugary texture of marble.
Exactly.
Those are pretty distinctive.
And if you can try to identify the parent rock,
Okay.
for example, if you find marble,
Yeah.
it likely came from limestone.
And don't forget those index minerals.
That's right.
They can be like little time capsules,
Okay.
revealing the specific pressures and temperatures the rock experienced.
And the best way to learn about these rocks is to get out there and explore.
Yeah.
You might be surprised what you find right in your own backyard.
So the next time we pick up a rock,
Yeah.
we should be thinking about the incredible journey it's been on and the forces that shaped it.
Exactly.
It's a reminder that even the seemingly ordinary can hold extraordinary stories.
Absolutely. Welcome back to our deep dive into the fascinating world of metamorphic rocks.
Yeah.
Last time we talked about how these rocks are formed
Right.
through intense heat and pressure,
Yeah.
kind of like baking a cake in the Earth's oven.
Yeah.
We even touched on how those tiny index minerals can act like geological fingerprints,
Right.
revealing a rock's unique history.
It really is amazing how much information those tiny minerals can hold.
It is.
It's like they're whispering secrets from millions of years ago. And speaking of secrets,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the idea of those massive tectonic plates colliding and creating entire mountain ranges.
It's a mind-boggling concept, isn't it?
It is.
Imagine those colossal slabs of Earth's crust.
Right?
Slowly but relentlessly pushing against each other.
Wow.
The forces involved are unimaginable.
So when those plates collide,
Yeah.
the rocks caught in the middle get squeezed and folded like Play-Doh.
That's a good way to visualize it.
Okay.
The pressure builds up over millions of years, and the rocks undergo incredible transformations.
Okay.
They can be folded, faulted, and even completely recrystallized,
Right.
forming those beautiful metamorphic rocks we've been talking about.
So regional metamorphism driven by those tectonic collisions
Yeah.
is responsible for some of the most dramatic geological features on Earth.
Absolutely. Think of the Himalayas, the Alps, the Rocky Mountains.
Right.
All of these majestic mountain ranges
Right.
owe their existence to the incredible power of regional metamorphism.
Mm-hmm.
And within those mountains,
Yeah.
you'll find a stunning array of metamorphic rocks,
Okay.
each with its own unique story to tell.
It's fascinating to think about how those forces acting over millions of years
Yes.
have shaped the very landscape we live on.
Right.
But it's not just about smashing rocks together, right?
No.
There's a lot of chemistry going on as well, isn't there?
You're right. Chemistry plays a crucial role in many metamorphic processes.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how we talked about hydrothermal metamorphism, where hot mineral-rich fluids circulate through cracks and fissures in the rocks?
Yes. It's like a giant plumbing system deep within the earth with hot water carrying dissolved minerals and altering the rocks it passes through.
That's a great way to think about it.
Okay.
Those hot fluids act like little chemical factories, facilitating reactions
Okay.
that can transform existing minerals and even create new ones.
So it's a combination of heat pressure and chemical reactions that drives these amazing transformations.
Precisely. And the specific combination of those factors will determine the final form of the metamorphic rock.
Now, we've talked about foliation,
Yeah.
those beautiful layers that form in many metamorphic rocks,
Right.
and how those layers are created by directional pressure during regional metamorphism.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious, how come some rocks don't develop those layers? What makes them stay non-foliated?
That's a great question. Non-foliated rocks typically form under conditions where the pressure is more evenly distributed. They might experience high temperatures, but without that strong directional force,
Right.
the minerals don't align in a parallel fashion.
So it's like the difference between squeezing a tube of toothpaste and just heating it up.
Squeezing the toothpaste creates those directional layers, while simply heating it up might change its consistency,
Okay.
but won't create any distinct patterns.
That makes perfect sense. Now let's talk a bit more about those index minerals that act like geological detectives,
Sure.
revealing the conditions under which a rock formed.
Yeah.
You mentioned garnet earlier.
Right.
But what are some other examples of index minerals that geologists commonly use?
Well, starlite is a fascinating one.
Starlight.
It often forms these distinctive cross-shaped crystals,
Oh, wow.
which are really cool to see in a rock.
So if you find a rock with those cross-shaped crystals,
Yeah,
you know it's been through some serious metamorphic action.
exactly. Starlight tells us that the rock experienced specific temperatures and pressures, giving us a glimpse into its past.
Right.
Another interesting index mineral is kyanite.
Kyanite.
Kyanite is interesting because it has different hardnesses
Okay.
depending on the direction you scratch it.
Huh.
This unique property called anisotropism
Okay.
is a direct result of the way its crystal structure aligns during metamorphism.
Okay.
So by testing the hardness of kyanite in different directions,
Mm-hmm.
geologists can actually determine the direction of pressure that the rock experienced.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like kyanite is pointing an arrow back in time,
Yeah.
showing us the direction of those ancient forces.
Right.
It's incredible how much information we can glean from these seemingly ordinary rocks.
It really is. And the more index minerals we find in a rock,
Yeah.
the more detailed a story we can tell about its journey through the Earth's crust.
Mm-hmm.
It's like piecing together a puzzle
Right.
with each mineral providing a clue to the rock's history.
Speaking of journeys,
Yeah.
let's talk about those different metamorphic grades we touched on earlier. Remember, it's like levels in a video game, with each grade representing a different level of intensity in terms of heat and pressure. Can you give us some examples of how those different grades might manifest in the rocks themselves?
Absolutely. Let's start with our familiar friend shale,
Okay.
that fine-grained sedimentary rock we talked about earlier.
Right.
Imagine subjecting shale to just a touch of heat and pressure,
Mm-hmm.
the kind you might find relatively close to the Earth's surface.
Okay.
It might transform into slate,
Slate.
a slightly harder,
Right.
more compact rock.
So slate, which is often used for roofing tiles and even old-fashioned chalkboards,
That's right.
is actually a low-grade metamorphic rock.
That's right. It's a great example of how even relatively mild metamorphism can significantly alter a rock's properties.
Okay, cool.
Now let's crank up the heat and pressure a bit
Okay.
and move into the realm of intermediate grade metamorphism.
Okay, what happens to our shale at this level?
Yeah,
Does it turn into something completely different?
it does.
Hmm.
At this level of intensity, the shale might transform into schist,
Disc.
a rock
Yeah.
with a much more pronounced foliation
Okay.
and larger, more visible mineral grains. You can often see glittery flakes of mica in schist,
Oh, cool.
which gives it a beautiful, sparkly appearance.
So as the metamorphic grade increases,
Uh-huh.
the rocks become more dramatically transformed.
Exactly. And if we go all the way to high-grade metamorphism,
Yeah.
where the temperatures and pressures are extreme,
Right.
our humble shale could be transformed into that iconic rock
Yeah.
with its alternating bands of light and dark minerals.
Wow. So from simple shale to stunning gneiss,
Yeah,
it's all a matter of how much heat and pressure the rock has endured.
that's right.
It's a reminder that even the most ordinary materials can be transformed into something extraordinary given the right conditions.
Precisely. And those transformations are happening all the time,
Yeah.
deep within the Earth's crust,
Yeah.
shaping the very foundations of our planet. It's a continuous process of creation and renewal, driven by forces that have been at work for billions of years.
So the next time we pick up a rock,
Yeah,
we should think about the incredible journey it's been on the forces that shaped it
exactly.
and the secrets it holds about the Earth's history.
Each metamorphic rock is a testament to the incredible power of geological processes
Yeah.
and a reminder of the interconnectedness of our planet.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of metamorphic rocks. It's been an incredible journey so far,
It has been.
exploring how these rocks are formed deep within the Earth's crust,
Right.
subjected to incredible heat and pressure, and transformed into something entirely new.
We've seen how those forces can create everything from the beautiful banding in gneiss
Right.
to these sparkly crystals in schist,
Yeah.
each rock holding a unique story about its journey through time.
It's amazing to think about how those seemingly ordinary rocks buried deep beneath our feet can reveal so much about the Earth's history. But I'm also curious about something else. How do these metamorphic rocks formed under such extreme conditions actually impact our everyday lives?
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
You might be surprised to learn just how many ways
Okay.
metamorphic rocks touch our lives,
Yeah.
from the buildings we live and work in to the jewelry we wear.
I'm ready to be surprised.
Okay.
I know we've talked about marble being used in sculptures and buildings like the Taj Mahal,
Right.
but what are some other examples?
Well, think about slate.
Slate, okay.
Its fine-grained texture and durability make it a popular choice for roofing tiles,
Okay.
flooring,
Mm-hmm.
and even those classic blackboards you might remember from school.
So a piece of slate could have started as humble mud,
Yeah.
been buried and transformed into shale,
Right.
then subjected to heat and pressure to become slate, and finally ended up on a roof. That's quite a journey.
It is?
And speaking of journeys,
Yeah.
I remember you mentioned quartzite as well.
Yes,
What are
quartzite.
some of its uses?
Quartzite is incredibly hard and resistant to weathering,
Okay.
making it a fantastic building material.
Mm.
It's often used for countertops,
Okay.
paving
Yeah,
stones,
yeah, it's-
and even as a decorative stone in landscaping.
Okay.
You know those stunning white cliffs you sometimes see in pictures?
Yeah.
Many of those are made of quartzite,
Wow.
standing as testaments to its strength and resilience.
That's impressive. So from our rooftops to our countertops,
Right.
we're surrounded by metamorphic rocks. But what about something a little more sparkly?
Okay.
What about gemstones?
Ah, yes. Gemstones. Many of the most beautiful and valuable gemstones are actually metamorphic rocks.
Okay.
We've already talked about garnet,
Right.
but another stunning example is jade.
J.
Jade typically forms in areas where tectonic plates collide,
Okay.
subjecting the parent rocks to intense pressure and heat.
Mm-hmm.
This process transforms the original minerals into the tough, translucent jade we admire.
Right. And jade has been treasured for centuries.
It has
Carved into intricate sculptures. Yeah.
ornaments and jewelry.
That's right.
It's fascinating how a rock formed under such immense pressure can be transformed into something so delicate and beautiful.
It is, yeah.
Are there any other metamorphic gemstones that come to mind?
Well, there's lapis lazuli,
Lapis lazuli.
a deep blue gemstone that was highly prized in ancient Egypt
Okay.
and is still used today in jewelry and decorative objects.
Mhm.
Its rich, vibrant color is a result of the presence of lazurite,
Okay.
a mineral that forms during metamorphism.
Okay.
And then there's soapstone,
Soapstone.
which might not be as flashy as jade or lapis lazuli,
Right.
but it's incredibly versatile.
I've seen those beautiful soapstone carvings.
Yeah.
It seems like such a soft stone.
It is relatively soft,
Okay.
which is why it's so easy to carve.
Right.
But it's also quite durable,
Mm.
making it a great choice for sculptures,
Right.
countertops,
Right.
even cookware.
So we've got metamorphic rocks in our buildings,
We do.
our jewelry,
Yes.
and even our kitchens. That's right.
It's amazing how these rocks formed under such extreme conditions have
Yeah.
become so integrated into our daily lives.
It really speaks to their versatility and the ingenuity of humans
Yeah.
who have found so many uses for these natural treasures.
But it's not just about practical applications, is it?
No, it's not.
Metamorphic rocks also play a crucial role in our understanding of the Earth's history.
They do.
They're like windows into the past,
Exactly.
revealing clues about ancient mountain ranges,
Uh-huh.
tectonic collisions,
Yeah.
and the incredible forces that have shaped our planet over millions of years.
By studying metamorphic rocks,
Yeah.
we could piece together the stories of those ancient events,
Wow.
understanding how the Earth's crust has evolved over time.
So the next time you encounter a metamorphic rock,
Yeah.
whether it's a sparkling gemstone,
Right.
a sturdy building material,
Yeah.
or even just a humble pebble on the ground,
Yeah.
take a moment to appreciate its journey.
Think about the intense heat and pressure it endured,
Hmm.
the minerals it contains,
Mhm.
and the secrets it holds about our planet's dynamic past.
It's a reminder that even the seemingly ordinary can be extraordinary when you understand the forces that created it.
That's a great point to end on.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of metamorphic rocks. We hope you've enjoyed exploring this fascinating corner of the geological world with us.
And remember, there's a whole world of geological wonders out there just waiting to be discovered.